Does karma exist? Is karma real? Let's talk about it. Hey guys, and welcome to Level 99 Project, where I document my life, I share advice and thoughts. Sometimes I just reflect. So, in this video, I want to explore the idea of karma, right? So, what is karma? Karma is, okay, I want to give a good definition without squandering it. But basically, karma is a consequence of an action, right? Or you could say karma is yeah, when a reaction. Yeah, karma is a reaction to an action. I would describe it like that, or I would define it that way. Karma is a reaction to an action. So let's say you punch the wall, right? So when you punch the wall, there's going to be a reaction to that. Or whatever you do in life, whatever happens in life, there's always a reaction to that action, something that happens as a consequence to the first event. I hope that makes sense. So the reason why I want to talk about this because I know a lot of people talk about this, right? And for example, we see a lot of evil things happening in the world, and sometimes we wonder, like, do those people ever get to experience karma, right? Which is a consequence of their actions, right? Because a lot of people, they do a lot of evil things. And we look at, for example, a lot of evil people, right? We see them, we know they exist, but it seems as if they are able to get away with this. So the question is karma a real thing? Does it exist? Is it just, right? Does it always play out, or is it limited? I used to believe that karma was limited and that it wasn't always in play. But upon reflecting and thinking, guys, I now believe that karma is always at play. And so in this video, I'm gonna try to explain and share my views about that, right? Why I think that karma is always righteous. It's always at play, right? So you have to think about it, right? First and foremost, that karma is a universal law, meaning that it's always present. It's always there. Like you can't escape it. It's part of this reality. It's part of this reality. It's part of this energy, right? It's just a law, just like gravity. Like if you throw something in the air on the planet, it's gonna come back down, right? Whatever goes up must come down. So it's a law. That's how I view it. It's a universal law, and it is not limited to the material world, which means that sometimes we see evil people do evil things, and it seems as if they are living a good life. Like after that, it's like they didn't experience any consequences or anything like that. That's how it might appear to us, but like I said, upon reflecting, I'm now seeing that no, that's not always the case. Just because we are not able to see, because we are not able to see the entirety of the situation, right? We only have our inner world, and we can observe the external world, but we're not able to see the entirety of it, right? We only have our perspective, which is very limited. So I'm going to give you guys an example, right? Let's say that someone robs a bank, right? He or she or the group, they are successfully able to rob millions of dollars, and they get away with this. So the question begs, were they able to escape karma, right? Because they weren't caught. They were successful with robbing a bank. So did karma what happened to karma? You know what I mean? Like, what happened to karma? So my understanding is that, okay, although they didn't get caught, and they have the money and everything like that, they always have to live with an uneasy thing, right? So because you also have an inner world, right? You have yourself. And so if you successfully if you're successfully able to rob a bank, you're always going to have this, like, you're not going to be able to have inner peace, right? Because you know that some people are looking out for you, right? You have done something and you are now enjoying, like, even going out with this money, you're buying things with it, you know, because you cannot lie to yourself, right? You cannot lie to yourself, you cannot lie to your soul. So within yourself, you know that you've done something that isn't allowed, and there are people looking out for you. You might get caught. Imagine going outside and, like, the possibility of getting caught, right? And having your life just taken away like that, you know? So you might get away with it, but within yourself, there's not gonna be peace. Like, there's gonna be turbulence, you know? And that is not a way to live, you know? And it's the same thing with, like, some things that you're willing to do for money, right? For example, you feel extremely good when you do an honest work, right? That's what I'm telling you guys. Like, sometimes when the kind of work you do for money, like, you worked really hard for that money. You used your hands, you provided service, you provided value to people, to society. That is gonna leave you with a very good feeling, right? Because you did an honest work. So within yourself, you're gonna feel good. You're gonna feel peaceful. But if you earn that money in a way that's not so good or respected, like, for example, I see a lot of girls nowadays. They have OnlyFans, right? So imagine receiving money from that. Like, imagine receiving money from men that are addicted to pornography, right? They're like, you're producing adult content and you're releasing that online, right? I don't know, guys. How can you feel good about that? There's no way that a girl, you might play it off as like, yeah, I feel good, like, you're buying things and you have a good life, but within yourself, your self-respect, you know, your dignity and things like that, it's not gonna be there, And that's what I mean with karma, is that it's not always something that you see, and you might look at some a person and you think they are all good and stuff, but in reality, they're within themselves. They experience a lot of stress. They don't have a good feeling about themselves because they know that what they've done is not an honest thing. They haven't been honest. So my understanding is that you cannot escape karma. Karma will express itself not only limited to the material world, but also, spiritually, right? Mentally. Like, it comes in so many different ways. And sooner or later, karma will always catch up, you know? And that's also why you are advised to not skip any steps, right? Like, don't cut corners because it's always going to catch up to you. Like, if you try to cut corners, you try to do things in a quick way to avoid the hard work and pain and all this stuff. It might work for a moment, but reality will always catch up, right? So you cannot escape this because it's a universal law. Like, you cannot lie, you cannot, and you see this all the time, guys. People that are trying to cut corners, people that are, like, earning money in unhonest ways, unrighteous ways, dishonest ways, sooner or later, it's always going to catch up to you. And you see this, like, you can experience depression, you can experience negative emotions, right? Turbulence within yourself. And there's no way. Just look at Andrew Tate, for example. Andrew and Tristan Tate, right? Andrew had all this money, everything like that with his brother. You know, they did all these things, only to end up in jail, right? Because sooner or later, everything that you've done will catch up to you. It's gonna catch up to you. You cannot escape it. You know, you can extend and you can like do everything, but it doesn't make sense to me. Like, yeah, even if you experienced everything in an honest way, it doesn't matter because you did all those things knowing that, like within yourself, you know that there's always a chance of you losing everything, you know, and that is not a way to live. So that was it, guys. Just some thoughts about that topic. If you have something to add, please leave in the comment below. I would love to read about it, and maybe you can enlighten me or give me a different perspective on this. So that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. Peace out.